Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In the sun-drenched hills of Los Angeles, where secrets simmered hotter than the midday heat, Deacon Sharp became entangled in a web of his own creation. Married to Sheila Carter, the woman whose turbulent history had previously threatened to destroy everything he valued, Deacon had attempted to rebuild a life of redemption. He operated Il Giardino with a firm hand, made amends with his daughter Hope, and even convinced himself that Sheila's most recent change was genuine this time. But therapy sessions intended to repair his marriage had resulted in something far more dangerous, an undeniable spark with Dr. Taylor Hayes. Taylor, the exquisite doctor whose life had been characterized by love, grief, and the allure of the Forrester family, had always maintained a cool demeanor. However, beneath her calm appearance lied a woman yearning for genuine connection, free of Ridge Forrester's hesitation. When Deacon first sought her professional assistance, their discussions ranged from marital advice to shared weaknesses. He recognized in her a generosity that Sheila's turbulent personality could never match. She saw in him a man who, despite his messy past, exuded raw honesty and resilience, making her feel truly seen. Their first kiss was an accident, the result of an emotional outburst during a particularly difficult session. They backed away instantly, saying it would never happen again. But the draw was magnetic. Stolen glances across crowded rooms at family gatherings, late-night texts disguised as check-ins, and whispered confessions over coffee evolved into something no one could deny. Deacon assured himself he was fulfilling his vows by recommitting to Sheila, while fantasizing about Taylor during intimate moments with his wife. Taylor, for her part, told her daughter Steffi that she had the attraction under control and would never undermine their blended family's delicate peace. However, control was an illusion. Taylor found herself alone in the Cliff home on a warm Thursday afternoon, while Steffi and Finn were taking the grandchildren out for an expedition. The coastal air wafted the aroma of salt and possibilities through the open patio doors. Deacon had lied to Sheila about spending the evening with Hope, disabling his phone's location capabilities to avoid leaving a digital trace. He slipped in from the back, his heart racing with a mix of remorse and excitement. "I've missed you," he said softly as they fell into each other's arms, their lips connecting in a kiss that obliterated weeks of restraint. Clothes slipped away in a blur of excitement. For the first time, they gave up entirely, bodies entangled on Taylor's bed as the world outside faded away. Deacon felt alive in that stolen hour like he hadn't in years, and Taylor discovered a softness in him that mended old wounds. Laughter mixed with sighs, vows muttered between caresses. "This is real," Deacon whispered quietly, touching her face. "What we have, it's not just therapy or rebound. It's us." But fate, the merciless director in their soap opera life, had other ideas. Unbeknownst to them, Sheila had decided on a spontaneous act of thanks. Taylor, convinced that her counseling had saved her marriage, picked up extra flowers from a cellar and went to the Cliff house to personally thank the doctor. Her heels clicked up the walkway, a cheerful smile on her face, completely oblivious to the betrayal taking place just outside the door. Inside, the couple were lost in their own world. Taylor's fingers entwined in Deacon's hair as he drew her closer, their beat rising to a crescendo. The creak in the entrance door downstairs went unnoticed at first. Only when Sheila's joyful voice rang out, "Taylor, I brought you something," did panic strike them both. Deacon's eyes widened with dread. "Sheila," he said softly, jumping upright. He was naked and panicked, scrambling for his clothes, but there was no time. Footsteps climbed the stairs. Taylor grasped a robe, her face pallid. "Hide," she yelled, but the bedroom provided little protection. In a desperate effort, Deacon ripped open the window, allowing cool air to contact his skin as he crawled out onto the ledge. The tumble into the shrubs below was terrifying, but survival instinct kicked in. He leaped, landing in a tangle of leaves and thorns, his skin scraped and exposed. Sheila pushed open the bedroom door as Taylor tried to control herself, feigning astonishment.
"Sheila,
What a lovely surprise. The flowers were presented with pleasant words, But Sheila's quick eyes searched the room, the rumpled bedding, the slight aroma of cologne that wasn't Ridge's or anyone else's she recognized at once. Doubt flared, but she said nothing, instead discussing how therapy had transformed Deacon. Taylor's pulse raced, her responses robotic, as she prayed Deacon had made it safely away. Outside, Deacon huddled among the bushes, his heart pounding against his ribs. He could hear their conversations through the window. Every rustle of leaves was like a siren. When Sheila finally left, promising to see Taylor soon, Deacon waited until the coast was clear before running across the yard, still half-naked, picking up his discarded shirt off the patio along the way. He made it to his parked car down the road, adrenaline coursing through his veins. That close call was a wake-up call and a watershed moment. The tight escape only strengthened their friendship. Over the next few days, Deacon and Taylor met in secret, their rendezvous filled with the thrill of danger. They discussed the difficulty of it all, his marriage to a woman capable of extreme behavior, her family's expectations, and the potential consequences for Hope and Steffi. However, each conversation concluded in the same way, with genuine and sincere vows of love. "You've shown me what it means to be valued without conditions," Taylor told him one evening after closing in a private area of Il Giardino. Deacon cupped her face. "And you've made me believe I deserve more than chaos." Sheila's suspicions increased. She observed Deacon's distant gaze and how he trembled at the mention of Taylor. Sheila approached Deacon one night following another failed attempt at reconnection, during which his mind had wandered elsewhere. "What's going on with you? And don't lie to me, Deacon. I know that look." He denied everything, but the fissures were deepening. Hope, sensing the tension, attempted to mediate, encouraging her father to follow his heart while cautioning him about Sheila's volatile temper. Deacon's son, Deke, was even more blunt. "Dad, Sheila's not the one. We all see it." Meanwhile, Steffi called Taylor aside at Forrester Creations. "Mom, this has to stop. Ridge and we've been through enough with Brooke and everyone else. If Sheila finds out..." Taylor nodded, tears in her eyes, but her resolve weakened when Deacon texted her later. "I can't stop thinking about you. Meet me tonight." The breaking moment came quickly. Sheila returned to the Cliff home unannounced one evening, possibly prompted by instinct or a tip from an unknowing source. This time, she did not knock pleasantly. She burst through the door with flowers in one hand and mistrust in her heart, up the stairs to discover Deacon and Taylor in a compromising hug, garments strewn about, the air thick with sensuality. The scream that Sheila let out resonated throughout the house. "Deacon, how could you with her?" Rage distorted her face, and the famed Sheila Carter look returned in full force. Deacon moved up to protect Taylor instinctively. "Sheila, wait, this isn't what it looks like." However, it was precisely what it looked like. Taylor stood firm, robe pulled tight. "Sheila, I'm sorry. We didn't plan this." Chaos erupted. Sheila yelled accusations, her voice rising to a crescendo as old concerns about being second best fueled her rage. She crushed a vase, leaving flowers scattered like treachery confetti. Deacon attempted to soothe her, but Sheila was beyond reason. In her outburst, she exposed the extent of her pain, not just from the affair, but also from discovering that Taylor, the woman she'd hailed for saving her marriage, had been the one to ruin it. During the melee, Deacon grabbed Taylor's hand. "We have to go. Now." They fled the home, Sheila's threats trailing them into the night. "You'll regret this. Both of you." Their hearts beating, they rushed into Deacon's car and sped away from the Cliff house, leaving behind their familiar lives. There is no plan or destination, only the intense desire to escape the current storm. As they drove along the Pacific Coast Highway, the water glittered in the moonlight. Reality set in. "What have we done?" Taylor asked quietly, her hand in his. Deacon squeezed it. "We followed our hearts. For once, I'm not running from something. I'm running toward you." They stopped at a picturesque overlook, the cold breeze blowing through the open windows. In the silent aftermath, they made love again, this time with the weight of consequences and the liberation of truth. Their run began in earnest. They abandoned Deacon's phone to avoid detection, paid cash for lodgings along the coast, and kept a low profile. Mornings were spent in modest eateries sharing breakfasts and dreams, and afternoons were spent strolling beaches together like teens. Deacon spoke up about his past regrets, including the frauds, heartbreaks, and the parent he wished to be. Taylor addressed her vulnerabilities, such as the years she spent chasing unattainable love and the heartache of watching her children go through the same Forrester drama. True love, they discovered, was not the pyrotechnics of their original excitement, but rather quiet moments of understanding. As rain fell on the roof of a primitive cabin near Big Sur one night, Deacon prepared a basic pasta dinner from whatever was in the cupboard. They laughed about the spilled wine, danced to an old radio station, and spoke till dawn. "I never thought I'd find this," Taylor whispered, resting her head against his chest. "Someone who sees me, not as a prize in a triangle, but as me." The news of their disappearance circulated fast back in Los Angeles. Hope was anxious, contacting everyone she knew. Steffi confronted Sheila, seeking explanations, while Ridge, the complicated ex, expressed worry mixed with unresolved emotions. Sheila, enraged, promised vengeance, her record of extreme behavior making everyone concerned. She hired a private investigator, explored social media for leads, and even contacted old acquaintances from her worst days. "They think they can just run? I'll find them." But Deacon and Taylor remained one step ahead. They proceeded inland to little California communities, passing themselves off as a vacationing couple. In one rural community, they volunteered at a local shelter, their common compassion bringing them closer together. Challenges developed, such as Taylor's concern for her grandkids and Deacon's missing lunch reservation. Arguments erupted about the feasibility of their flight, but they always reconciled with deeper devotion. One especially tense evening, as they hid in a motel on the outskirts of a desert town, news broadcasts indicated a missing persons notice linked to their names, though specifics were kept vague to prevent controversy. "We can't hide forever," Taylor whispered, anxiety setting in. Deacon drew her closer. "We don't have to. But right now, this is us choosing each other. No more pretending." Their friendship was reinforced by adversity. On a sunset walk, Deacon surprised Taylor with a handmade necklace composed of beach shells. She taught him meditation techniques to help with his anxiety, while he showed her how to let go of perfectionism. Laughter became their armor. Inside jokes about Sheila's dramatic flair, playful teasing about their great escape. Intimacy shifted from frantic passion to gentle exploration, with each touch serving as reaffirmation. Back at home, the family fractured even deeper. Hope publicly defended her father while privately encouraging him to return. Steffi and Finn coped with the consequences for the children, who asked harmless inquiries about Grandma Taylor. Ridge felt strangely contemplative, as if his own history had led Taylor down this path. Sheila's fury became strategic, and she planted pieces in the press that hinted at wrongdoing in the hopes of exposing it. Weeks stretched into months. Deacon and Taylor arrived at a peaceful village in Northern California, where they rented a little cottage under aliases. They made a temporary life here, gardening, reading aloud, and making love under the stars. "Is this true love?" Taylor inquired one morning over coffee on the balcony. Deacon smiled. "It prevails because we fight for it. Every day." But the past caught up. Sheila's investigator came near after receiving a tip from a nosy neighbor. One afternoon, while shopping at a farmer's market, Deacon noticed a familiar sight in the crowd. Panic rose. They abandoned their cart and ran back to the cottage, packed quickly. "We have to keep moving," he remarked. Taylor nodded, but tears welled up. "I don't want to lose this." Their next destination was even more remote, a cabin in the woods provided by an old friend of Deacon's who asked no questions. Isolation provided clarity. They talked about the future, divorcing Sheila, co-parenting over Miles, and perhaps starting over somewhere new. Doubts lingered. Could Taylor forsake her career? Will Deacon's restaurant survive without him? But love anchored them. They expressed their anxieties while sitting by the fireside and reaffirmed their devotion. Sheila, meantime, became desperate. Her clashes with Hope got heated, with accusations flying. The Forrester family circled wagons, but fractures appeared, with Brooke sending Taylor surprisingly empathic counsel via a private message. The intrigue enthralled Los Angeles, with newspapers speculating wildly about the forbidden lovers on the lam. In the cabin, a breakthrough occurred during a storm that knocked out the power. Huddled together with candles flickering, Deacon proposed that they stop running eventually, but on their own terms. Taylor agreed, her eyes beaming. True love is an escape. It's building something real. They made plans to contact lawyers secretly and face the consequences with dignity. Their relationship grew stronger over time, becoming unshakable. Shared vulnerabilities evolved into strengths. Deacon prepared elaborate meals using foraged ingredients, while Taylor created images of him in quiet moments. Their physical connection acquired its own language, slow, passionate, and affirming. Finally, the inevitable confrontation approached. Hope sent a message warning that Sheila was closing in, possibly with dangerous intent. Deacon and Taylor agreed it was time. They traveled back to Los Angeles, stopping at familiar locations to appreciate their journey. They spent their final night together at a coastal motel, bodies and souls in sync. When he returned, he found chaos. Sheila ambushed them at Il Giardino, but Deacon held firm. "It's over, Sheila. I love Taylor. This is my choice." Taylor confronted Steffi with honesty. "I deserve happiness, too." The family reeled, conflicts reverberating through Forrester mansions and hospital hallways. Despite the upheaval, Deacon and Taylor's love persisted. Divorce court fights loomed, as were custody conversations for blended families and professional implications. But they confronted it together, going to therapy as a couple and establishing trust with their loved ones. Hope gradually embraced the change after witnessing her father's excitement. Steffi, while pained, began to accept. They reflected on their adventure during peaceful evenings at Deacon's apartment or Taylor's newly renovated room. The run had put them to the test, proving that true love was not perfect or easy. It was about choosing each other in the midst of a storm. It triumphed not because it was predestined in a fairy tale, but because they nourished it with honesty, passion, and fortitude. Months later, when Los Angeles was abuzz with new scandals, Deacon and Taylor went hand in hand along the beach, the waves crashing symbolically. "We made it," he stated. She leaned into him. "And we'll keep making it. Every day." Their narrative, born from forbidden sparks and forged in flight, became a tribute to brave hearts in a beautiful, confusing world. There was no more hiding or pretense, just two hearts who dared to rush toward love and found it waiting, unflinching.